hello. Thank you so much for coming. This is the Caring for Your Alzheimer Dementia Loved One talk, and my goal tonight is to support, encourage, and give you information to make things easier. I'll tell you about my background. I've been working with seniors for 43 years, and I really feel very blessed every year that I've worked, every family and client that I've had. It's been a blessing to me. So people say, oh, it's so great. Well, it really is great, and I have a great time. Anyway, I started out doing home care, and back in 1980, and then I gotta read my own writing. Oh, then I was a senior resource manager at OPC, which was really nice, giving people resources. I led the vision impaired group. And for several years, I was an activity director. So in that capacity, I did training and, staff and family. I had a lot of family volunteers, which was nice because then they could be involved. And I ran an Alzheimer's support group for 2 years. So as an activity director, hi, come on in. We got a chair for you. So as an activity director, wherever you want. So as an activity director, it was my job to address their emotional, physical, spiritual, and social needs. When I first started out, we were having a lot of falls. So just by increasing hydration and exercise, we upped our exercise classes to 7 days a week, and just pushing the water. We went from over 20 falls a month to like less than 2. So it's so huge, the exercise and the hydration. Then we did all kinds of fun things. We had dance parties, we did balloon volleyball outings, we do large crossword puzzles, trivia, hangman, remember hangman? Lots of music, we did crafts and artwork, and the dance parties were right. They love music, so we were always doing, and people even in wheelchairs, we could still dance, and that got them moving. The other thing is, when we first started out, I'm like, can I give these people some coffee? They're tired, so I gave them a big cup of coffee before we started exercise. And as long as there was no problem with their health, it was great. It kept them alert along with the water. At one point, we had a huge Halloween party, because, why not? It's Halloween. And my girlfriend's an entertainer, so she lent me a lot of costumes. So everybody had a costume, and at one point in the evening, this little old lady, Gertrude, she's sitting there, she's got her white pants on, her white shirt, she's got bunny ears on, and she looks at her friend, she goes, I don't know what's going on here, but it really is a lot of fun. So, that got them involved and laughing, and there's a huge thing. I could tell the same stupid jokes every single day, because, they'd forget. And I would bring my dog, and she acted as a therapy dog, and every day they'd say, oh, is that your dog? Oh, what's your dog's name? But we just rolled with it. So then, that's about and I currently have a home care business. I help families and whatnot. So with this, you and your family are grieving, okay? If you have a loved one with this, they're grieving the loss of everything. Their independence, they're not able to drive, they're losing everything. And then you're grieving the loss of this person that you knew and loved, and how they were and what your relationship was. So it's important that you get as much support as you can and get your needs met outside of that relationship, because that relationship has changed. It doesn't necessarily change drastically depending on the situation, but it can change drastically, and they're not going to necessarily relate to you the way they used to. And I thought about this: how do we understand where they're at? Well, you imagine that you're lost in the woods. It's dark. You fell down. You hit your head. You're bleeding. You broke your glasses. So there you are, and you're disoriented. You're confused. You're afraid. A lot of times, this is how they're feeling on a day-to-day basis, because it's like things aren't secure anymore. Maybe they can't remember you, they can't remember what day it is, they're not quite sure what's going on. So the main thing that I've found is just that we have empathy. That we have empathy for how they're feeling, And then consistency and direction. So that's what they need from us. And here's the thing, we have to accept that they have changed and they may never be the same again. That's huge if we can accept who they are, because we want to think, well, mom used to do this or mom was like this, and the sooner we can accept that they've changed, the easier it's going to be on both of us. And then basically detach and love. If you can detach emotionally from what's going on, which is hard, which is really hard, which is why you can talk with other people. But what I thought about is in working with them and helping them, we need to learn a new language. Everything's different now. We have to relate to them in a different way. So we have to let go of what our expectations of them are. I mean, certainly we have expectations they should bathe and they should eat and these kind of things, but as far as what they used to be and give to us is not necessarily going to happen anymore. And that's hard, and that's a very difficult thing, just to have this double grieving going on. They're grieving, you're grieving. It's just very challenging. So what I found is really helpful is as they progress, that they're nonverbal. We can relate to them in a nonverbal way, because maybe they're not quite getting what you're saying. Like you're saying, okay, we're gonna go. And they're, so come on, we're gonna go. So really kind of doing pantomime and just showing them, or okay, well here you come here and then let's go sit in the dining room, and here you go, come have a seat here. And with my lady currently, I'll say, here, have a seat here. Pull your chair up, and she'll pull up as far as she can, and then I'll scooch her. I've got a little, I don't want to call it bib, but like an apron. It's just a nice towel, and it's got two ribbons, and so she doesn't get her clothes dirty. And so I get her up as close as I can. So doing those nonverbal things, and just paying attention to their cues, because they can't maybe necessarily tell you how they're feeling or what they want anymore, but you know them, and so you're going to see, boy, mom looks depressed. Mom, dad. So then that's really big, is to acknowledge their difficulties, acknowledge their grief. For example, the lady that I'm working with now, she really can't speak anymore. She understands a lot. She knows what she wants to say, but she can't say it. She doesn't want to get out of bed half the time. Well, isn't that understandable? So I'll say, oh, come on, Gwen, it's time to get up, we're gonna go have some fun. And I go, I can see if she's really having a hard day. And I'll say, Gwen, I know it's hard, honey. I know it's hard. This is not what you wanted for your retirement. This is not what you expected, but it could be worse. And I know it's really hard, but we'll have some fun, and that, a lot of times she doesn't want to get out of bed. So in working with them, we're looking for their quality of life. We're trying to help them have the quality of life. So that's not staying in bed all day. That's not going to help her. It's not going to be good. When I first started working with this lady, she wouldn't get out of bed. So what can I do? I can't. She's bigger than I am, and you really can't force people to do things. It doesn't. You don't want to get in a wrestling match. So it was in the wintertime. Let's open the window. It gets a little nippy in there. Take her blanket. Gwen, I've got the bathroom warmed up for you. I've got the heater in there. I got a nice hot cup of coffee. Come on, let's go. And after a while, she would get cold. And it might sound cruel, but what am I?
All the windows and doors.
Well, but
No, I get it though. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
what do we want? We
Right.
want her to get out of bed, because we know when she's out of bed and she's dressed, she's gonna feel better. So you got to be creative, and it's it's not. Anyway, so then what's interesting is things go along. Have you seen what you would consider inappropriate behaviors? Okay, which could be all kinds of things. Have you seen inappropriate behaviors, like things they wouldn't have done before with your loved ones?
Yeah.
Okay. So interestingly enough, I went to a great seminar, and this lady said, we were going to talk about inappropriate behaviors. She said, inappropriate for who? Well, it's not inappropriate for them. It seems perfectly reasonable to them. They go in the middle of the room, take off all the clothes. It's just, why are you getting so upset? So that's very interesting because a lot of times the frontal lobe of the brain is affected. So they don't have inhibitions anymore and they're just doing things and saying things and maybe swearing or, but it's not inappropriate to them. And also it's not bad. It's not naughty. She's not meaning to give you a hard time. She's not meaning to be these things. So if we look at it in a different way, that, well, it's not inappropriate to her, if that makes any sense. And sometimes this can come out in sexual behaviors, and again, it's nothing they're trying to be difficult. So when I was in assisted living, we had this wonderful fellow, Roland, and his wife put him in the place. Alzheimer's, all 36 Alzheimer's dementia. And he's there, and he's a nice guy, he's having a good time. Well, all of a sudden we're there, and here he is sitting on the couch, and he's holding hands with Irene. And they're like, oh, they have this little thing around. Okay, well, if his wife comes in, let us know, we're gonna separate because she wouldn't think fondly of this. So then, weeks go in, it's nothing. They're like little kids. They're holding hands, they're just being a little affectionate. Well, next thing you know, here's Ada on the other side, who's now got 2 girlfriends.
Oh, gosh.
But it was absolutely nothing. And to them it was appropriate and it fulfilled something in them, it's companionship. And when the wife, she was not happy. But then we had to explain to her that this is nothing.
They're there all day.
Yeah, where's she?
Right? Yeah, they're out, right? So they're
She's
making a
having a life.
relationship with the people around them all day, and you're gone doing what you have to do. You got to live
Right.
your life.
So we had to explain it to her. She was very upset. Actually, she wanted to know if I was running a whorehouse, and I said, well, not actually,
Oh, boy.
But so those things are difficult. Is there any behaviors you want to talk about that you're
I think it's more
struggling with?
not so much behaviors, but they have lost their filter in what they say.
Oh yeah.
So
And so those things, they hurt your feelings, or
yeah, it's like yeah,
I don't
the
really-
things I don't want to hear.
Well, my mom, we put my mom into a great place, but my mom always did sort of have a sailor's mouth. So now I'm like, wow, seems really outstanding while we're here. Like, probably shouldn't say that, Mom.
but again,
What are you gonna do? You can't really stop her.
yeah, and in saying, well, you can encourage her that that's not appropriate, but
No.
frankly, she's not going to
She doesn't remember tomorrow.
She's not going to remember, so let's avoid that hassle. Let's, getting in any kind of, debate with them. So onto these behaviors. Losing my train of thought. Oh, okay. As far as correcting them, oh, Mom, don't you remember then this? And she said, no. And don't you remember this? That's really not kind. It's not kind because she doesn't remember. I mean, you could
don't really
lightly
wanna do
say
it.
that in one situation. You remember the time. And if she says no, then fine. But just trying to help her remember is not necessarily. It's not going to get you anywhere. And trying to teach them new things.
That's huge. Trying to, yeah.
Not react to that.
No, why am I fighting trying to get her to remember all this stuff when literally 15 minutes from now she's going to look at me and there'll be a loop of something else, She'll never remember it. So I find myself saying that to her though. Don't you remember? And talking her through a bunch
Right.
of stuff, and I'm like, oh, all right.
And then,
that sort of makes sense.
So sometimes it's simpler, just, stick with the present. Although, actually then they can remember things that happened 50 years ago.
To the
And
day.
tell you over
Yeah.
and over and over.
And
Yeah.
the times, the day,
Yeah,
all
right.
that, but you can't tell me why you're here.
Right, or what your name is, or,
Mm.
now have you guys gotten to the point where they're not remembering who you are?
Well, I'm fortunate that my mom remembers me, just she doesn't, she remembers me on site, she can't remember anybody else's name on site. So,
So that's,
yay for me.
yeah, yeah, really, you're the blessed one. You always were the favorite son, right?
Yeah.
But that's a very difficult thing, and she doesn't remember me. Well, not really. And so when I worked, particularly in this Alzheimer's dementia home, I was there every day. I was there 5 days a week for years. They never knew what my name was, but they knew who I was. they recognized me.
See that in my mom already too, where she's living, because she wants to tell me how she's friends with the ladies who are working with her, but she's, I'm like, oh, but you can see she can't remember her name,
Right.
their names.
And that's a
Although
difficult
she's my
thing.
friend and we do this
Right.
together and she helps me do that.
Right.
But
And so that's good to get her talk about that. Oh, well, how about we'll go over and meet her, and then you can learn the lady's name. But it just is not
I've
really.
had all over and over again.
Yeah.
I show up, I get introduced over and over again. It's funny.
Well, good. So it sounds like she's adapting well.
No, not really.
So how long's it been? How long's it been?
It's been 2 months.
Okay.
And she is, that's not true. She is doing well. During the day, she's active. She does all the stuff. She talks to people. They involve her and stuff. And but my mom also did healthcare, elderly healthcare. So she's pretty active. So they'll say, my mom can't watch someone clear a table, right? She
wants to
gets
help.
up and helps. So they're
Good.
like, okay, you want to help? Fine. It keeps you busy and stuff.
Right.
Well, after dinner, my mom calls me almost every night. I had to go there yesterday. We had a big talk because I'm getting 10, 15 phone calls after dinner. Are you home? Yeah, what's up? Well, I need a ride.
Oh.
Well, where do you need a ride to? Well, my home. Well, what's on your walls? When you look at your walls, well, my paintings. Well, you are at home. So
Okay.
I get that over.
So that's a big deal.
I get texts. I need help now.
Okay.
I'm frantic. I'm at this, right? And
Right.
so I'm always trying to, I'm just giving up on correcting her. I'm like,
Okay.
well, you're safe and things are good and,
Okay. You might want to try this. If she calls you, I want to go home. Okay, great. I'll be there in a half hour.
that's where she's gonna remember a half hour.
Do you think so?
And all that
Or an
shit.
hour. I'll be there an hour, or I
It'll
can't get
be
there
an
till.
hour later, and I'll bet you she'll be.
Well,
It's
I'm just
hard.
saying.
It's
So,
hard. I mean, I'm gonna try it for
That's
sure.
an
but it's
individual.
hard, but-
For example, I had these two little old ladies, and they come up with their walkers, and they're like, "We want to go home. I want to go to my house in Detroit." I'm like, "I sold that house in Detroit 40 years ago." You never forget that. So I go, "Okay, great. See this bench here by the front door? If you guys just have a seat there, that bus is coming. It's probably another half hour or so." And so they sit on the bench.
20 minutes later.
And they get talking, and then, so they're presenting a need to you. They're saying, I need to go home. I want to go home. To say this is your home now, you might want to just kind of avoid that, because
Okay.
she doesn't see that as her home. It's only
No,
been
she
2
doesn't.
months. No, and she's not going to right now. It takes a while to adapt, but just, okay, it's going to be, or I can't be there. So basically you're sort of distracting and you're delaying.
What's the average, like how long before they,
Couple months, depending on the person. Every single person is different.
okay.
So, for example, here's another thing with their memory. What were you saying?
Well, I just get the constant when I'm there too. I get the constant, oh, I'm doing good here. It's nice. They're so nice to me. Oh, I'm settling in. And I'm thinking, no, you're not. Look at you're blowing my phone up. You're leaving 8 voicemails a day. Like,
Well, and do you answer all those calls?
no, I
Well,
couldn't
there you
answer
go.
all those phone calls.
So then that will probably
Yeah, you hope it's
continue
success.
to decrease.
Well, we had a sit down yesterday where I was like, here's how many times you called me last night. She's like, wow. And then I told the ladies there, and they're like, holy crap, when she goes in her room, right? Like, we don't know what's going on, but
Well, if you can be comfortable to just
I'm just not answering some
answer
of them.
one of them or something.
Yeah,
Say,
yeah.
Mom,
Well, I'm limiting because it's like a broken record of, can you
Yeah.
come get me? Are you busy? Well, I don't know. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, midweek. Yes.
which she doesn't get, she
No.
doesn't get. And like, for example, I mean, we can use truth creatively.
Yeah.
So, Mom, I'd love to come get you, but I'm in a meeting. Or, Mom, I'm out of town. I can't get there till tomorrow morning. So just try things like that.
Sure.
So along those lines that they forget. Little Ada, every day she'd come up, she goes, oh, where's my husband? Do you know where my husband is? And we'd say, well, your husband died. He died 3 months ago. I go, oh, where he is? And she's going to a funeral. And then the next day, she goes, do you know where my husband is? And then we tell her again. And she's grieving because she doesn't remember. So I came up with this, I said, your husband, he does such a great job at work. He's out of town right now. He's accepting an award for his great work. something like that. Just to be, and then and then she's proud, then she feels good. So you see what I'm saying, if you go into their world, and, because she wants to know, where's her husband? A few weeks later, she'd forgotten all about him, and she stopped asking. Or they'll come up with things like, Gertrude comes up when she's in her walker, and she goes, see these spots on my skin? The birds were in my room, and they've been pecking on my arm, or H-spots. They're pecking on my arm. I go, oh, I will take, we've had that problem before. Just hang tight out here. I'm gonna call the exterminator right now. I'm gonna make sure that that's taken care of. So, oh, okay. So I was taking her seriously. I wasn't treating her like she was crazy, because she doesn't think she's crazy. And so I addressed the need. And then she forgot.
This is right about the time, though.
Hi, Mom. We're just talking about you. So, to be creative. And, we don't like to lie. That's not we're not in the habit of lying to people, but what's best for them and their quality of life. Creative, or sometimes outright lying. If it's going to help them feel better, isn't that, it's a better thing. So what's huge, so your mom is in a home,
Yes.
and your parents?
My dad has dementia, and my mom is his caregiver
Okay,
at the
okay.
house.
Okay, and
And
then,
they have someone coming in too.
Yeah,
okay, good. Like 5 days, full-time, part-time?
3 days a week.
Okay. And then your parent?
I'm just seeing beginning stage of my mom forgetting stuff and just
Okay.
but she's by herself, and
Okay.
so I check up on her and kind of fibbing about a couple things, and to get me over there,
Okay.
just already started.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay, so to address that, if you're seeing beginning stages, couple of things. Untreated high blood pressure can bring on dementia.
She takes blood pressure pills.
Okay.
So
Dehydration can bring on, cloudy thinking, if you're dehydrated, okay? Some medications.
Mhm.
The other thing is there's something called delirium. If there's an infection going on in your body, urinary tract infections are very, very common. With my dad, it was brain bleeds. My stepmom calls me up and says, your dad's got dementia. I go, well, he didn't have it 2 weeks ago. I go, what's going on? He's hallucinating. He's yelling. He's kind of violent. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to come down. We're going to get him, and we're going to take him down to the VA hospital and have a whole battery of delirium tests done. That's when we found out he was having brain bleeds and a couple other things going on. So it wasn't really dementia. It was, so there are things that you can check into. And like for your mom, huge that she gets hydration, exercise,
And
stimulation.
then I thought you said something about protein too.
The protein, okay.
Like
Yeah, with nutrition, protein 3 times a day. People don't do this, particularly not that generation. They want to have a bowl of cereal. Well, there's not a lot of protein. So
she doesn't eat very well at all.
okay.
So I know that's part
So
of her.
sneaking in the protein anytime, anyway. So for example, my friend and client, Gwen, she likes to have a bowl of cereal. I give her Raisin Bran. That's kind of fun. And then she doesn't like a lot of milk in there, so I put peanuts. She likes those dry roasted peanuts in there.
Huh.
And so, it just, so that's huge.
Since
Nutrition.
my mom moved into her place, she looks so like,
Healthier?
yeah,
Oh,
because of the, I ate, okay, cool, you ate. I never gave it much thought. And now she's eating 3 squares. They make sure
Okay.
she drinks
Right.
fluid. She looks great. Oh my gosh, she looks so much better.
So isn't that nice? So then you made the right decision,
Oh yeah.
and
It feels like it like 75% of the time.
to deal with, So what's really essential if they're at home and you're helping them, is to have a schedule, okay? That everything's on schedule. This is the time we go to bed, this is the time we get up, this is when we have our meals, this is when we take our bath. It's huge, okay? Because so much of their world is just uncertain and they're not quite sure. So that's really, and it's actually, we're all supposed to go to bed at the same time and get up and have a good schedule, right? I'm sure you do, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So those kind of things, and for example, this lady I'm working with, it took me a while. I'm finally getting her out of bed, and then I've got to get her in the shower, you know, and so she didn't want to take a shower. Well, it's freezing in her bathroom. I'm like, don't you have a space heater? I tell her husband. Yeah, okay, so I warm the bathroom up. And he goes, it feels warm. I go, we're old ladies. We have thin skin. We get cold, you know. Nobody wants to go in and take a shower when it's not nice. Mm-hmm. So I created this nice environment. Kind of like say, oh, we want to be at the spa. You know, you get the nice soft rugs and create that nice environment. So she can't take a shower. So I wash her hair and, you know, have her do as much as she possibly can, but then I have to do the rest. And then getting out, okay, grab bars are huge. We won't get to safety, but definitely grab bars in the bathroom. There's actually 2 in the shower, so she's got one here when she's getting in, there's one over here. There was one over here, but that wasn't really good unless she was sitting down, so she needed one to pull herself up. So that was a big deal. And then safely get her out. I don't put the bath rug down. I get her on the pot, and then she undresses. Then I put the rug down because they're trip hazard. So that's a big deal. You know, just always watching out for that. There's a grab bar by the toilet. She's got the counter. So that routine, and then it's, you know, and the other thing is, you know, when they're having a hard time or just talking to them. Just telling them stuff. Tell them all about your life or tell them some funny story. Anytime you can infuse humor, you know, get them laughing. You know, that's great. Like this lady, you know, she doesn't have a great sense of humor, but, you know, we'll be driving along, we go out and do our things, and she's like, oh, you gotta turn here, you gotta this, just slow down, you're, you know what I mean? Listen, lady, I go, you better watch it. I got this ejector button here. If you keep giving me a hard time, I'm gonna press this button, bing, right to go. So she laughs, you know. So I'm addressing that I'm a little frustrated and just making her laugh about it. And then she kind of realizes, you know, I guess this woman knows how to drive after, you know, 50 years. So the schedule is huge. And so then with each client, who are they? What do they need? Well, she was a piano teacher. She can kind of play piano now, so I'm like, oh, can you play piano? No, please, you know. And what I found was that when the music's there, she tries to read and follow it, and that's not working out real good. Whereas I take the music away, I just play something, anything, and then she just gets into it. She's using the foot pedals, okay? But it's not something she really enjoys doing because she knows that she's not good at it anymore. She doesn't talk much, but what I found out is she can sing. She and I can sing Amazing Grace together, and she harmonizes. Now, she doesn't get a lot of the words, but I sing the words and I get the words, and then she kind of follows along. So I was like, wow, I mean, she's got a great voice, and she's harmonizing, so that's still there. I asked her husband if she was creative, if she no, she didn't. Well, I'll try it. So I got her an adult coloring book, which was way too detailed. Yeah, it's frustrating to me. 1,000 little, you know. So then I found something in between that's not a little kid, puppies and kittens. And actually, she picked one. The adult coloring book she picked out was the mermaids. Oh, okay. Okay. But it was a little too complicated, so I found some that you can have printed off, and they're larger and easier. And then we started with colored pencils, but she was working too hard. You know, it was hard, you know. And then we tried markers, and that was, whatever. We got hit on crayons. So we go out, so now we have a routine. We do her shower. She has her nice breakfast. I do her hair and get her all dolled up, and then we go out somewhere. I go, oh, let's go have fun. And I just say we're going to have fun. I don't necessarily, but now she kind of likes we go to an exercise 3 days a week. So we're going to go see our friends, okay? So then she's getting exercise, and it's amazing how well she does in that situation, because she's in a social situation, which you're used to being in your whole life, right? And you're not going to be grumpy, because, you know, and she really does quite well. She can't get everything if some of it's kind of complicated, but she enjoys it. And then we go to McDonald's for lunch 3 times a week. And we sit there and she has her lunch and here's your sandwich and she looks at it. Okay, well, then I have to hand it to her. Oh, here, you have a bite. And sometimes I do that several times. So as things go, you have to repeat. But you gotta do what you gotta do. And then we have our coloring. We'll do our coloring, or we like to watch kitten videos. Who doesn't like to watch kitten videos or puppy videos, or especially if she's agitated, and then she laughs. Or we go out in a restaurant. Because your mom doesn't like to go out a whole lot, is she not so?
She has just a routine that
Okay.
you can't take her out of that routine. She has to be home by a certain time.
No, okay. So, coming up with things, like Gwen loves little babies and kids. So when we sit at McDonald's, I always put her so her back's to it and she can watch the kids, and then, that's entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing she likes to go is Salvation Army. I don't know that she was thrilled at first, but we go in there and I discovered what she liked was looking at all the little figurines, the knicky-knackies. Oh, we could be there for half an hour. Oh, look at this and then we go over and we look at all the little girl clothes. And it's just, so what if we go there? It's something that she enjoys. So yeah, talking about you, so you guys are, you can support each other. That's huge, and are you feeling that you're dealing with the stress of it and you're kind of...
No. Well, yeah, I mean, at this point, it's much nicer now that she's in her new residence because you have that peace of mind at night, you can sleep, although I'm still, she's never like the same when you see her, right?
No.
Because she's slipping all the time.
Right.
She's still there,
Right.
but it gets a little bit, it's kind of progressing a little bit as we're going, and that's a little bit shocking. And then it's, what I've noticed too is it's a small world. So the conversation,
Oh,
right? You are out in the world all day. All right, all I do is stand next to that stupid machine for hours on end. I really don't talk to many people, I guess, but she has just that world, or they have just the world at the residence, right?
Right.
There's 19 other people and the people who work there, and they make it really nice. But I'm always so, it's so strange when I show up and I'm like, which one am I gonna get?
oh yeah.
Right, so. But it's definitely a better feeling now that she's there, but I'm still stressed out about the whole thing because she's changing so much and there's still stuff to be done all the time for her. Like, you still gotta go make sure you got water in your fridge? Because I like to make sure she has a couple things.
Right.
Bring her a newspaper, which is $3.50 now. I don't know
Yay,
if anybody noticed that. But I've been taking her newspapers and stuff because I know she still likes to read, whether or not she's following along in her book.
Right.
But no, I don't know. No, still super stressed when the phone rings and all that. What are you gonna do?
And you might get to the point where maybe it's necessary to turn off your phone at a certain time.
Yeah, no, I'm getting there.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen here pretty
Yeah.
quick. 'Cause it's,
It's hard.
well, you're again. They live in such a small world with all they have to talk about is that.
right.
Again, how much they can remember, but what'd you do today? Oh, we had they have a happy hour. Okay.
Right.
Oh, great. Well, after a few minutes, she's run out of stuff to talk about.
So what can be helpful is that if you talk to her and say, oh, I know this lady and she's having these troubles and it's something,
Yeah.
so that she's going to think outside of
Oh,
herself.
yeah.
There's this lady at my church or wherever and she's really having a hard time. And what do you think she could do? Is she having trouble? So just stories. I find that very helpful. Tell them about what's going on. Tell them a big story or something from my childhood or about I tell animal stories a lot. Who doesn't like animals? Unless you don't like animals. And, just something. Because you're right. Their world has shrunk down to, so.
That stresses me out when I go there because, okay, I only have so many stories to talk about.
Well, then start recycling.
Yeah, I do.
Get
I
the
do.
best ones. Get the best
I
ones.
do.
Or jokes, or
Would you like to listen to you? Did she ever like to read where she would like to have something read to her?
Oh God, my mom's a fierce reader even
Oh,
now.
really?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
She always had 3 books going, one in the
Okay.
car, one in the bathroom, one in the living room. She'd tell you everything about them.
Wow, and so she's still reading and retaining?
She's still, my sister's bringing her books, there's books all over, she reads the newspaper,
That's great.
so.
Does she retain anything from the
I
newspaper?
have no idea.
That might be a great thing to do, say, hey, you know, look at
But
the newspaper.
her stories are a mix of the things she's read, the things she's heard, and some of the shit she remembers. And I'm like, wow, you could print this. Like, it'd be a good book.
So, well, that's, but that's great, she's reading.
Yeah.
And maybe look through the newspaper with her together, and hey, did you see, what about this guy, or,
Good idea.
Yeah. But
You
back,
know-
back to the stress thing too, I'm like constantly like when I go there, I look at her phone to see if anybody else is calling her or texting her, or see if that's agitating her. And some of the phone calls agitate me, but what are you gonna do, right? So I just, yeah.
is she, like, calling other people, and
Her sister, my sister,
are they okay with that?
yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
My Aunt Renee sees her like once a week when she's
Awesome.
in town, stuff like that. My Aunt Fran's coming in town, they're gonna see her.
Okay,
So that's gonna be another one of those. And then like I wanna take her out of there. She's been in there for 2 months. We had to stop. My brother Paul kinda went crazy in the beginning. And so I wanna take her out for a trip, but I don't wanna bring her back to like my house or,
out to lunch,
yeah.
or someplace or a bookstore.
I was gonna take her to Michael's. I got a broken frame.
Exactly, she might enjoy
Okay.
that, yeah. And that, because now that she's sort of established, so, and again, just fun outings, because I like going places. Oh, and so this lady and I, we go to the senior center, we do our exercise class, and there's a playground over there, we sit on the bench and watch the kids play. And it's just, wow, it's great. I put her on the swing, and she's like, oh, I don't know about this. But, we just kind of try. So, yeah, I think it'll get easier.
I hope so.
I mean, but it's about you and how you're dealing with your stress.
Oh, yeah. No, I
Yeah,
mean, it's
let it
just-
go.
Take too much on.
And just say to yourself at a certain time, I got to turn that phone off at that time. I mean, if there's an emergency, they've got your number, right?
Well, that's what I always think too.
But
If something really goes down, she won't be the one calling, it'll be them.
exactly, and I think because you have to take care of yourself,
Yeah.
and that's that. And you can even say, Mom, I can't really talk after 8. I go to bed, whatever. And then maybe write that down in her room. Oh, by the way, writing things down can be really helpful. Like, Mom, I go to bed at 9, so please don't call me after that, or little reminders. Is your mom needing any sort
That's
of
a
that
good
help?
one.
Okay.
My mom and dad, their door that they go inside and outside the house has all the notes taped to it.
Okay.
Yep, my sister went on vacation for a week. She lives like 20 minutes from it. I'm like, write down when you're leaving, where you're going, and when you're coming back home. Because otherwise, every day or every time I call, I wonder when Kay's coming back home.
Right,
I wonder when Kay's coming back home.
right. So that helped.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, writing things down is awesome.
So, yeah, it's the door somehow they got into it. They put any bill that comes due goes there, any invitations
Okay.
they get,
Oh,
they put,
perfect.
That's a
it's
good
there.
idea.
tape them on the door.
Yeah.
And so it's a question of whether she wants to go out, Do you want to go to lunch? Would you like to go to the bookstore?
I think she's gonna say yes, it's coming back.
To the world?
No, it's
No,
coming back
like
to,
when you come
to
back
the
to
residence.
the parking lot,
Well-
she's like,
Get out
why,
of the
where
car.
are we, why are
Say,
we?
oh,
Why are
we're
we
gonna
here?
we're gonna go in here and have dinner.
Yeah,
We're gonna go in here to
Yeah.
time it with its mealtime, and that's another helpful thing. Is do you have meals with her there?
I can, but
It's a great
what
thing.
what I have noticed when I am there, I was there the other day, all the ladies were on the front porch having like a ladies' time, so I was invited to hang out, so I interacted with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I have found that if I am there and they come around and say, okay, it's lunchtime, my mom's like, you gotta go. It's lunchtime and I'm going to lunch, so you better
Well-
take off. I'm like, all right, well, I just walked in a minute ago, so okay, I'll see you later.
Or go sit with her and talk to her.
Seal, we're gonna go do the puzzle. Okay, come on, I'll walk you out. all right, well, okay, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, but you gotta go, all right.
Wow, and that hurt your feelings?
Nope. No, I'm cool with it.
Like, bye.
It's a little mind blowing 2 hours later when are you gonna come see me? Okay,
Yeah.
so
But, so if you take her on an outing, maybe plan to come back by dinner time. Why are we coming back
that's
here?
that's brilliant because we
And-
could be back at a certain time.
And then have
she-
dinner with her.
Yeah.
To ease the transition, you know, 'cause
It's only $5, it's good food. I've done.
there you go. Yeah, I'm telling you. So are you getting enough family support from your family and?
Who?
Are you the one? Yeah, isn't that interesting? You can ask, And here's, you can set up a visitation
Well, my sister,
schedule.
I have to give credit where credit's due. My sister has helped to get my mom in this place and kind of supports all that, so that's nice. And her and I bounce a few things off each other just to keep my mom's deal going, but that's about it. So.
Well, there would be nothing wrong in talking to your family and saying, look, mom, grandma, auntie could use visits. How about we look at the calendar and when can you go and when can you go? And then how about you visit her once a month on a Tuesday? Why don't you, because I think sometimes people are kind of afraid. They're like, don't know. Hey, go see her. Yeah. And
There's a whole building full of people starving to watch someone walk in, talk to somebody so that they can talk to that person. Oh, is that your grandson? Is that your... That's one thing I've picked up while I'm there,
Yeah.
is everybody loves to see you come visit,
right.
because then they all
They
have
share.
something to talk about.
Well, yeah, and they can share you.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's, spend time there or say, you gotta go, she's gotta go, we'll go hang with her at lunch and have a cup of coffee or
And I
something.
will say, now that she's here, a lot of the sneaky stuff has stopped. So a lot of at home, she was trying to cover all the,
Oh,
especially when I show up, she tried to cover everything up, so it's all glossy.
right.
Because this prime example of my mom, I went to see her, was it yesterday, right? Day before yesterday. So of course they had her dressed in shorts and a t-shirt, so I had called, she picked up the phone, I said, hey, I'm like 15 minutes away. So my mom went in and changed to pants and a different shirt, because she didn't want me to see her in shorts and t-shirt.
Why?
I thought, good question.
Because she wanted to be dressier.
Yes.
Well,
So I'm
thank
like,
you.
all right, well,
That was an activity.
Yep. But it's strange the way that all sort of,
Yeah. But you're her golden boy.
I don't know about that, okay.
So yeah, just to take care of. Now, does your mom need any? She's doing pretty good, just a little forgetful. Okay. Let's go back to safety. So, grab bars, and they also have it kind of runs under your mattress, and it's a grab bar for the side of the bed, which can be helpful getting out of bed. So you can grab on that, and then going to the bed. Is your mom strong? Okay, so that's a big deal. Okay, so as far as safety, so you want grab bars, you want night lights, or you can have motion, if she's by herself, motion activated lights. And particularly if she's alone, cameras can be extremely helpful, so that in the main, not in the bathroom, but in the main areas.
Yeah, one of my girlfriends showed me, it's on her phone, she said I could see.
Tremendous.
Their mom kept forgetting to shut the stove off and blaming it on somebody
Right.
else. Who's coming in the house, turning it on.
Right. Or
I
my,
didn't use the stove today.
hey, no,
Sure
no,
did.
it's me, no, it's me.
Yeah.
Or I had a friend that would never put the phone on right, so everybody's trying to call for hours on end.
Yeah.
So with the handy dandy little cameras, they could look into the family room there, so you can see a little head there, or one in. So those can be. You're not trying to be invasive, but you're just it's as a safety precaution. Of course, you have does your mom have a call button? Interestingly enough, a lot of times people will fall and they totally forget it's on and they don't press the button. But it's nice because there's a wellness check every day, Lifeline or one of those things, and then they check to how you doing. So there's features like that. Okay, so here's another thing as far as safety. So, and the stronger they are, and the more hydrated they are, the safer they're going to be. But what's very interesting is you'll see an older person trying to get up like this. it's hard to get up unless you're very fit and you have good quads. Hard to get up. Okay, so what I'll say is you gotta scooch to the edge of the chair, and particularly with my ladies, I say feet or hip width apart. They don't want to do that. They want to be ladies. I'm like, hip width apart, lean forward, then you can get up so much easier. So just going over that. And then, okay, we're going to do the help I've fallen, I can't get up. So in the event that your family member falls, you fall, anything. So, okay, I've gone over here, and can you see me over here? This is part, talk, part comedy routine. Oh, I fall, I can't get up. Oh, what am I going to do? So you're on your back. So you're there with mom, and okay, mom, you got to try to roll to your side. Try to roll to your side. If you can possibly, here's the chair. There happens to be one here. If you can possibly get on your knees, try to get on your knees, scooch over here. You got this chair here. Try to get the knees under you. You just get one knee under you. And then you go over here, and, okay, now you're here. If she can possibly get one leg up. But if you talk to them about these things, they might well remember it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do in the event of a fire? Mm-hmm. So just kind of going over some of these safety things can be immensely helpful. And if you're in that situation, you don't want to hurt yourself. So you need to, first thing, let's backtrack. Are you hurt? Does anything hurt? Are you in any pain? Because if they're in any pain, you don't want to try to help them if you're there. But then, go over this with your mom. Let's think about this. What's going to happen? And what are you going to do? And how close is the phone or whatnot? So I think the more you talk about these situations, you know what I'm saying? Think about it.
See, my dad fell outside walking to the mailbox.
Ooh.
He was using his cane, but he was not walking in the stone driveway. For some reason, he was walking in the yard. And he has a fused ankle and a knee replacement on the other side. And he fell. Nobody was home. And he's like, well, I thought if I crawled to... And he's got arthritis all through his body.
no.
So he thought, if I crawled to the tree, maybe I could pull myself up. He couldn't. Fortunately, my brother had borrowed his pickup truck, and I asked my dad, I said, how long did you lay there? An hour. In the front yard.
Wow.
People coming by. It's like,
What?
did I think you were your
They
pulling
probably
weeds?
thought he
or
was
what?
taking a nap or something.
So my brother got there an hour later with the pickup truck. He had to call my other brother. They backed the pickup truck so that if he can get something to get a hold of, he can pull himself up. But his problem is if he's in the open someplace, like he said, if I fall in the house, I can probably make my way to something to pull myself up.
So a camera outside might be a great idea.
Yeah. So.
Seriously,
Yeah.
from the house
Front
to
yard, backyard.
that's great.
Well, they told us it's like you're using a walker now.
Walkers are great. I
Yeah.
love walkers.
Yeah, so he's been using it. Because
Okay,
I think
good.
he bruised his ribs. He did not went to the doctor, but I think he bruised his
Oh,
ribs.
yeah. Ooh.
That takes too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, and they said, they told him to put your cell phone in your pocket when you go
Right.
outside. But
No.
Yeah.
so far,
Whatever. It's on the
And then
ki-
you
it's
could
on
do
the
a
kitchen
note.
table.
Do a note on the kitchen table or somewhere.
Put a note on the door.
Yep, on
Do
the
you have your
door.
phone?
Do you have your cell phone?
yeah,
Is it charged?
Yeah.
it's always in the charger. So
Yeah, so,
yeah,
I had to use a walker after I had my knee replacement. I don't lay the little bag on there. I just scooted, things are great, but sometimes they're a little embarrassed to do that. The other thing that can happen often as they're aging is they have trouble with depth perception. So let's say they were going from this carpet outside, you've got dark and you've got light. So they're going along and they're like, wow, there's a hole. So to be aware of that, to help, that's an issue. Does anybody have an issue with macular degeneration or any vision? Okay. All right. So hydration, is your mom drinking enough?
I don't think so, but she says she is.
Yeah, probably Do you make her water with lemon, well, maybe not lemon, orange slices, piece
I
of
got a lot of,
pineapple?
when I'd ask my mom, are you drinking water, I'd get a lot of that, just so I didn't ask more questions.
Yeah.
Right.
Would you?
Oh yeah, I've been drinking water,
Yeah.
there's one right here. Well, that thing's been there for 2 weeks.
Right.
See, my mom has never drank water,
Oh.
never drank milk. She has a Pepsi that she will sip on all day long.
One Pepsi.
It might be 2 days. And
Whoa.
I said, I
Wow.
was like, I'm gonna have to hook you up, put an IV next to your chair and hook you up to an IV.
She's probably seriously dehydrated.
Dehydrated.
I would
Yeah.
say so. Her skin is
Wow.
like so.
Well, if
dry.
you know,
Yeah,
if you
That's
pull it up and it
maybe-
stays there, yeah.
but.
What's
yeah.
that, Chuck?
They got the baby test for hydration.
What's the baby test, tell me?
Push on their thing, and if it stays, they're dehydrated, but if
Okay.
it springs back.
Okay, huh,
That's what they do for babies, as far as I remember.
there you go.
And the other
But
person-
there's no way to convince her, and she
Yeah.
won't go to the doctor. She's like, I'm not taking any medication. She's just very, very, very stubborn.
Has she always been stubborn?
More so as she's gotten older.
Do we think she's depressed?
Uh, she gets out every day,
Okay.
looks at all her flowers, you know. So she gets her exercise. She picks up. Oh, there's more dandelions in the yard today. She got to pop all the heads off the dandelions and throw them in the burn barrel.
Well, hey.
So anyway,
But
it's
so
like, what else?
your family goes and sees her,
Yeah.
and do they encourage you to drink?
Yeah,
But
but
she's-
she's yeah.
Like
I've
you-
tried different drinks. You know, it's like
I
don't know. Plus, both her and my
Does she
dad.
drink
sleep in
coffee
their
or
chair.
tea?
Not dehydration. I know there's a lot of new medical devices. You go to the doctor, you put something on your finger for various things to tell getting enough oxygen, I think
Right.
it is.
Mhm.
Do they have anything for dehydration on adults?
I'm not sure. I
Well,
mean, I think they just look at you and see
You know,
your.
they have a hydration meter, you can stick into the ground or on the tree.
Yeah.
Well, that's my point, is
Yeah,
every tree guy's got one, every guy that sprays, you can stick it and find out the moisture. They should have something that can tell how dehydrated.
maybe that would
it is.
convince her. I'm not sure. That's a wonderful question. We should check into that. So we talked about nutrition, exercise. Is your mom getting exercise? Is she?
She walks that building 4 times a day. Her and one lady dance out. And every time I walk in, they're dancing around. So, yeah, this is good. Where she's at is good for her, but you can really see like the change is
That's
really
awesome.
kind of accelerating, I think.
Oh, that her decline.
Yeah.
So being in a home is not the end of the world. People used to think, I'm never gonna go home. It's not like it was in the old days. It's not a nursing home. There's not a bunch of people, you know, it's a good thing.
No, there's a few people in there like that, but there's
Right.
also a great majority of them are still functional.
Exactly, and.
But I think to your point, it's a very nice facility,
Right.
and they have activities all the time for people. Like, they're just not in their room sitting there,
Exactly,
not in
like
front of a TV.
in the old days, they were
Yes,
in the
correct.
rooms, they were lined up in the hallways,
Right.
in the wheelchairs,
Yeah.
looking just so horrible,
Yeah.
terrible, and it smelled.
Right.
That's not,
No.
that's not, you know.
It's
So
not like that at all.
does she have her own room?
Yeah.
And then she goes out to, okay.
Mhm.
She has her own like apartment is what we call it. It's one
Okay.
room with a bed and a bathroom. It's a
Okay.
private bathroom, a little seating area with a TV. And then it's 3 meals a day. They have, I mean, she's like, I love the food here, it smells great. And then they have like little things going on. They had a barbecue for Memorial Day. They're gonna have another one for 4th of July I'm gonna go to, you know.
Okay.
It's nice, they bring everybody out.
They must do it in the morning, check them all, and
In the morning, they get everybody up, get
Okay.
them going. People, the way I understand it, like my mom wants coffee, like me, like crack, you get out of that bed.
Immediately.
Better be a cup of coffee pretty quick.
Yeah.
And so they have to wake everybody up pretty much routine, pretty
Yeah.
much
Oh,
the
okay.
same
Make sure everyone
time.
gets their medicine.
Everybody gets
Yeah.
your
Okay.
medicine. It's time to get up and get dressed. Breakfast is coming. You know,
All right.
breakfast.
They bring the breakfast to
No,
her,
and then,
she goes to
then
the
everybody
dining room.
goes to a common area for
Awesome.
breakfast, and they have some interaction.
What do they call the place? I mean, like, is it assisted
It
living?
is assisted living, and then it's assisted living, and then you move to memory care within the system. back in the building, like there's buildings.
It's like a
in it.
complex.
Oh, okay.
And then do they have nursing care?
I think
I
so.
think so.
A lot of them do. So you got independent living,
Well,
assisted living, memory care, and then nursing care of things. So
kind
then,
of, I kind of take it from the system she's in. They're probably not gonna move her out of there, like as the memory thing goes down,
Right.
because they don't wanna upset the apple
oh
cart.
yeah, that'd be terrible.
And then, so I think there is some people who are getting more care in there.
Right, and then they can bring hospice.
Yeah.
Hospice can
So,
help them.
but it's, I don't know what kind of magic my sister worked to get my mom into this particular place, but whatever it was, I'm old,
It's really nice.
sleeping a
It's
lot better.
Where's it? What is it called?
It was called Randall House now, or Randall Residence, now it's called
I don't know what it's called.
I
They
forget.
Where?
changed names.
Where?
Found Squirrel?
Squirrel and University. It's just north of University on Squirrel on the west side.
Oh, okay, good.
Nice
So-
place. And everybody there, I'm very impressed with everybody there. They're very, like,
That's great.
obviously their passion.
Yeah, isn't that nice? I mean, so it is a different world, so looking down the pike, you know. So does do your parents sleep well?
Mm,
No.
no.
My mom does.
Okay. That's an issue, because how are you gonna feel good if you're not sleeping properly? So the trick to sleeping is, I know with all my sleep problems, is the room should be cold, dark, and quiet. Because a lot of people sleep with the TV on. Well, your brain can't really rest with the TV on. But if it's cooler, yeah, until you get in the shower. No, cool. It's nice and cool, because if it's too warm, it's hard to sleep. Quiet. I live on Rochester Road. I have to have a sound machine, so otherwise I could rather listen to that than the gravel trains. And then cold, dark, quiet.
Socks. Socks.
And wear socks. I wear them to bed, then I gotta take them off. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have cold feet.
Yeah, I wear a lot of socks to bed. If it's too warm, I kick them off a lot.
There
In
you
the
go.
winter time,
There you go.
I need socks to get to sleep.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's key. And a good, comfortable bed, melatonin.
But I think melatonin, if you take it in too much, because melatonin for me gives me nightmares.
Lower dose.
Yeah.
Less is more.
'Cause my
You want
dad,
to go 1 milligram, not 5, not 10.
my dad was saying, it's like, oh, I don't know where all these crazy nightmares are coming from. And it's like, I was looking to see how much melatonin he was
Right.
taking. It was like 10 milligrams.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
But both he and my mom sleep in the living room,
Oh!
in their chairs.
Oh, gosh.
My dad
Yes.
has the TV's on. My dad would probably eventually start going back to bed. This is like after his fall. He's not gotten back into bed because he has a lift chair.
Okay, okay.
But my mom has always had the television on. Drives me nuts.
Well,
I hate that.
But they have a lot of bad. Well,
Yeah, you.
I have a lot of bad habits too.
Well, yeah,
They
yeah.
have a lot
Thank
of
you.
bad habits.
Thank you. So do I.
So-
Do we need to end at 7?
It's up to you.
Okay. So I just want to cover a couple more things. Actually, I think we did. As far as distracting them, you know, if they're getting upset. Okay, I don't want to put on my pajamas. Well, maybe. Well, it might be a good idea. You're probably more comfortable. But really, does it matter? You sleep in your clothes. You don't want to. You want to pick your battles, and really not battle, because you're never going to win, right? So don't argue. Go with what they're saying, what they're feeling, and just, you know, be gentle with yourself and take care of yourself, get support, and it's a hard road home.